My whole life, I've always been the guinea who hates meatballs. Swore for years that I hated them, wouldn't eat them, wouldn't touch them, wouldn't look at them. Turns out, I was wrong. I've just never had like a really good meatball. Sorry, Mom and Grandma, but anyway, where were we? Meatballs. So I got to thinking, and I'm like, what exactly don't I like about meatballs? They're usually dry and stiff and spongy, and they're just a lump. They're a bowl of meat. I mean, that's what they are. They're a meatball, a bowl of meat. But it's like, I don't want to feel like I'm just eating a lump of meat in a dish. That's how I feel about meatloaf, and I really, really hate meatloaf, and I don't think I'm ever going to change on. I don't like meatloaf. I don't like it, don't like it. So the first thing I did was change the type of meat. That old school classic, you know, veal, pork, and beef mixture, throw it out the window. Forget it exists. I don't think it works. I don't know who came up with it, but I don't like it. Okay? My favorite meat is lamb. I love lamb chops. I love lamb burgers. I love lamb. Okay? So that's what I decided to use in my meatballs. I think it just has like a different kind of flavor to it. It's like beef, but like elevated. Brings something really unique to the meatballs, and it's juicy and flavorful, and my mom hates lamb, and she likes these, and admits that they're better than hers. So, lamb wins. I've got 2 pounds of freshly ground lamb. So that's how we're gonna start off these meatballs. And right here, I have my handy dandy skull mixing bowl where we are going to put all of our ingredients into. So now our meatballs need a binder. We need a bread and we need some eggs. I'm not doing the whole old school, you know, freeze the bread, soak it in the milk all day long, soak it in the water, yada yada. I've got panko breadcrumbs and I've got Italian breadcrumbs, and they work great. So I'm doing a cup of each, and then I'm using 2 egg yolks. Just the yolks, because the whites make your balls too stiff and nobody wants stiff balls. So in goes the yolk. So now that we've got our breadcrumbs and egg yolks in here, we're gonna season these babies up. So we've got the classic Italian trio: parsley, basil, oregano. We've got some salt, some pepper, and some other stuff. So let's start with these. Fill up your palm, throw it in. I put equal of oregano, parsley, and basil. And boom. We're going to put a little pinch of salt. We don't cook with a lot of salt in my house because everyone's got freaking high blood pressure. So we're just adding a little pinch of salt to bring out the flavor. And some black pepper. Okay, there are a lot more practical ways to put pepper into this, but this is just entertaining. I mean, there's a light at the bottom and everything. The light might be broken. Next is the cheese. So I've got a nice big old slab of Pecorino Romano. So I'm going to grate in about a cup. Okay, so cheese is in, and now I'm going to add in some Castelvetrano olives. They are my favorite olives. They look like this. Can you see them? I just did a really fine chop on these and add them to here. You can add as many or as little as you like. You don't have to add them at all, but that would be stupid because they are great. Oh, garlic. We need the garlic. We need the garlic. This jar is running low. It's just like a nice. We want flavor, we want juicy, we want deliciousness, we don't want no dry balls. So that is everything in our mixture, and now I'm just gonna stick my hand in there and get everything all mixed up, and I'll show you what it looks like.
Now it's time to roll the balls. So I'm just taking some of the mixture in my hands and making about the size of a golf ball. Don't overwork the mixture too much because then your balls will be tough. So I cook my meatballs like I'd cook a steak. I heated a cast iron skillet Added some olive oil, and now I'm placing all of my meatballs in to create a nice sear around the edges. That's going to lock in all the juices before we pop them in the oven, and it's going to make them juicy and delicious. Okay, hear that sizzle? You want to hear that sizzle. If it's not sizzling, your pan's not hot enough, and then you're just going to have oily, greasy balls, which is not what we want either. So just flipping those balls, making sure they're nice and brown all around the edges. Now I'm going to pop this whole thing right into the oven for about 10 minutes until the center is slightly pink.
So now we're moving on over to the stove, and we are going to start our eggplant arrabbiata sauce to go on top of our meatballs. So,
first things first, get your eggplant, cut the skin off, and we are going to cut it into tiny cubes. You want to make sure they're all the same size or around the same size so they cook evenly and at the same time.
Now, I don't cut up onions because I have the worst eyes in the whole world, and every time I cut up onions, I cry like there's no tomorrow, worse than anyone you've ever seen, and then my eyes get puffy and I look like a fish, and it's just not a good thing. So, guess what? My grocery store cuts them for me, so that's how I buy them. Okay, pan on the stove. Do not turn this on until you add your oil.
Okay, oil in, onions, garlic, and we're going to let that heat up and saute until the onions are soft. Eggplant, dump it in, mix it all around, get everything nice and evenly coated. Now I'm adding a pinch of salt and my red pepper flakes, and we're going to cook that down until your eggplant is soft. Tomatoes, dump them in, mix it all around. Parsley, basil, oregano, bay leaf, pepper. Gonna mix that up and let this simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes until it looks like this.
So I have some zucchini spaghetti, and I just bought it from the grocery store already in these little spirals. If you have one of those spiralizer things, you can do it yourself, but guess what? I'm not going to. This is like never ending. Plop on our meatballs right there. And arrabbiata sauce. And now we need some cheese. And give it a nice grate on top. Okay. Now that's a meatball.